What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Jonathan Dornbush.
Hello.
Sam Claiborne.
Emag Pooks is Game Scoop backwards.
And Ryan McCaffrey.
Hi.
And we've got a great show for this week. So much to talk about. We have got a green light to talk about Breath of the Wild once again, because there's actual news to talk about.
Pooks!
Not just how much we love it. We got to talk about Darksiders 3, which was just announced this week. But first, we're hiring. Sam Claiborne right here is actually looking to fill 2 positions.
Yeah, we promoted some folks, and we have some room on our staff. They're good, neat jobs, and one of them is a PC game person, so someone that plays PC games mainly and knows how to build their own PC. That's important, and then plays a lot of early access stuff and is into modding. We like that here. We like seeing goofy mods, and we want to do more coverage of that.
Modding community.
Yes, exactly. The other person should be part of a community too, which would be speedrunning. We're looking for a person who either is part of the speedrunning community, can actually play games really well. That's crucial, but could actually work on acquiring some cool videos for us, making some of our own. And this person might also be a really, really good FPS player or topping the charts on such games as Destiny. That would be very helpful for us too. So just like someone who's like a gaming expert. And if I didn't describe those well, that's okay, because I described them twice in our job descriptions and in an article I wrote already, which you can check out today on IGN, or that's yesterday for you, or just look up IGN hiring, because I'm sure you'll find that in Google. Yeah,
and Sam posted the job openings on his on Twitter today, so you can always go to Sam's Twitter profile to find them right there.
Yeah. And I'm like super interested in both those personally, because mods are really fun to watch, as I mentioned. But man, speedrunning, I want to see so much more of that. And we talk about this a lot and watch videos, and it's just something that we've been wanting to cover more.
Yeah, I know speedrunning is not a new thing, but it's kind of, I've just sort of recently started paying attention to it, and I'm super fascinated by it, especially retro game speedruns.
Yep, and I also like people just kicking butt in shooters, and either of those things. We're looking for that.
Cool. All right. News this week. We've got the first details on the first, the first content pack download for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, called the Master Trials.
Had to use the Tingle image.
The perfect.
Just move over a little bit, Damon. There he is. Damon Tingle. No,
wait there.
I think you had a costume.
Yes.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, now we have all the details on what's going to be included in the Master Trials. You have to have the Season Pass to get this this content. Sometimes you can buy them piecemeal, separately. Not this time, Nintendo says. No way.
Did you guys buy that?
He says, no way, Jose.
Wait, the game's huge.
Yeah, I bought it last night.
You did what?
I bought the
You bought the Season Pass?
I was waiting until they revealed this information.
Yeah, and that's only half the
I was going to
information.
buy.
But
So what did you...
I get it, but I'll never get through what's on the disc or what's on the cartridge. So
you know what's cool is that this has something that might help you get through what's on the cartridge. It's a mask that shows you when Koroks are nearby.
Yeah. Well, so we can run
I know
down.
you found all 900
paying for cheats, basically.
Yes, paying for cheats.
We can run down what is included here, and then I want to get your impressions on this. So it includes a bunch of different modes and items. It includes something called the Hero's Path mode, which I think you might be interested in, Sam. This is allows you to track your progress around the map, right?
Yeah.
And actually, it will document every step you take and create like a green path of footsteps everywhere that you travel in the game, up to 200 hours.
Can you imagine what that's going to look like?
When you can
Just a single
slide back
pixel
and
path.
forth.
Yeah, and
it can let you figure out where you
there's
think.
there's a way to scrub through your timeline, but I'm not really sure how that
It's going to look like Harold and the Purple Crayon got in there, and then there's going to be little areas, it'll be like, wow, I never touched that area, and then that's going to be where the dang last shrine is.
What's cool about that? That's almost certainly a developer debug feature that they were using during development.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They probably went, hey, you know what? This could be really cool to actually give our players access to in a smart way.
Yeah.
And I love that it's going to work retroactively for someone. I've beaten the game, so now I can ostensibly load up my game and see everywhere that I walked.
200 hours of progress.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That means if you ever just sat there and let the night go over and over again.
Well, yeah.
You have a
You're gonna
green
lose some
dot.
footsteps. Like you said, it also includes the Korok mask, which will make it a little bit easier to find Koroks because it'll shake when Korok is nearby.
I'm all over that.
Which is always.
I think the rest of my plane flights for the remaining year and whatever is
all
going to
be Korok hunting?
Yeah, I think
The
so.
next decade for me.
Yeah, I know. It's taken a long time.
It includes something called the Trial of the Sword, which it sounds like maybe like a horde mode. 45 rooms where you have to fight through, and you start out with no weapon and no armor.
Oh, I like
See how
that.
far you
That's
can
cool.
get. And if you get to the end, the reward is a permanently charged up Master Sword.
So there's another great place in the game where you lose everything, which we won't talk about because it's a little bit of a spoiler. But that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I can't like. Have you guys played Cave of Trials in?
No, but that's what they
games.
said this is influenced by.
They can be really hard, and I think there could be a puzzle element to this, where if you don't have the weapons you need, like 3 enemy rooms down, like you're totally boned.
Yeah.
How great would that be? Like you probably have to hold on to a fire weapon for like a really tough ice enemy later, because that can kill them instantly. Pretty cool.
It also includes hard mode. This mode is a little bit more controversial because it just makes the enemies a little bit more difficult. Some enemies will actually be more difficult than you would have encountered in the normal game, in normal mode.
Striped guys, those guys are hard.
Yeah. But this is the mode to me that seems a little odd to be charging.
Yeah, monetizing a difficulty mode I'm not okay with.
That seems a little strange.
Did you see the thing about how they're going to add like platforms for enemies in that?
Yeah, they adds a number of planks floating throughout Hyrule. After reaching these large planks, players will have the chance to battle enemies and collect more treasure.
The planks are on balloons.
When I was first writing
Is that
the
true?
story, so they're giant balloons, like they're massive planks, like they're big things you can stand on and fight enemies on. But when it's just described as a plank floating with balloons, that I just imagine this dinky little small wooden plank just floating in the air. But no, it's a big thing.
You know who's responsible for those? Tingle.
Sounds like the
Link.
It adds a new travel medallion, which it's located in a chest somewhere in the game.
Like that.
So I don't know what that is.
They hide their DLC.
Shouldn't be hard to
It's really
find.
funny.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Somewhere.
Where's this thing I paid for?
That
don't know.
That's already happened. Like with the original DLC, there's 3 chests that appear
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Great Plateau, and we wrote a page about them for the guide because you have to find them.
But the travel medallion will create a fast travel point anywhere on the map that you can watch it. So it doesn't have to be a tower.
I don't understand. Oh,
a shrine.
okay.
You can put it in the middle of nowhere.
Gotcha.
And lastly, the new equipment will be themed on characters like Midna and Tingle, as well as games like Phantom Hourglass and Majora's Mask. So that's what's included in the first pack, and I think that's one of 2 that you get with the $20 season pass. They have not provided a release date for Master Trials yet, although they said summer 2017.
And then the other one is the one that they hinted at will have story-based DLC.
Yeah, which will be fascinating to see how they actually put that in the game. They've said it adds a full new dungeon also, which we have a better idea of now. Before release, we didn't know what dungeons were.
Which dungeon do you think they're talking about? Not a shrine.
No,
more
I would assume
Like
I would assume more like
one of the divine beasts.
Yeah.
And those aren't like
Found
the
another divine
longest-
beast.
Yeah.
They're not the longest, craziest dungeons.
No.
Hyrule Castle is like a dungeon too.
Yeah.
So if it's something like that, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, so I wanted to get your read on this, whether or not it sounded like it was worth it. But the fact that you already went ahead and bought it seems like you're on board.
I know Ryan disagrees.
Well, just not it's if Zelda were a 10-hour game that I've easily plowed through, that might be one thing, and I might be like, yeah, cool, yeah, let me get some more of that. No, it's a mammoth game that I'll.
Where are you at in it?
I'm like 30 hours in, and I'm still only through one
Beast.
One beast.
Which one did you go for first?
The elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I learned
Usually
first,
the
too.
first one people go to.
Yeah, that's weird. They kind of shepherd you there.
Yeah.
What about you, Jonathan?
I'm definitely going to buy it, so I haven't purchased it yet. I was waiting to hear the information, and after hearing this, and assuming the story DLC will be hefty enough, I'm going to invest now. But I'm not going to play until this pack comes out. I'm also only like 20, 30 hours in, but I haven't played in like a month. Just life has gotten in the way, and I've stopped playing Zelda. But I have like OCD when it comes to games. I want to collect all the Korok seeds. I want to find everything. This is such ease of use, great stuff for me in the way I play.
Yeah.
It's totally for me. It has value.
Yeah, I guess it's also worth keeping in mind that your $20, like this isn't all your $20 gets you.
Yes.
You're going to get the other pack that comes later on this year too.
Yeah, you can't buy them separately.
No.
So if there's one little thing you like in all this, you have to get the bundle.
You really want that Tingle outfit, you have to pay $20.
I think this is turning out pretty
worth
neat
it.
so far, especially if there is like, a couple months of more Zelda development we're providing for with like some cool story in the fall. Like that's really exciting to me.
Yeah. I like a lot in this. I like the Hero's Path mode a lot. I think the Trial of the Sword sounds really fun. The hard mode bugs me, but even if you took that out, I think that this pack still seems worth it to me.
The rest of it.
If they had just made that a free update or something. But speaking of free updates, they unlocked all of the different voice tracks in the game in the latest
Yeah,
update.
you can
for
play
this.
it with the Japanese VO, which is people say is better.
Yeah, I mean, for me that would fix the one problem with the game. Just I think the English voice acting is really bad in that game. So yeah, I would love to be able to play it in Japanese.
That's cool.
And you can just flip the switch.
Yeah, really nice.
Turn it on, and that is a free download.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for that at all. But it'll also
interesting
turn off your free arrow cheat.
Just from, I don't know, this doesn't matter to players, but a lot of what you just described as being in this download are things that I'm pretty sure, based on what limited amount I know about how game development works, that cost them almost nothing.
Yeah.
It's like almost, it's just gravy. There's so much of this that's pure. I mean, the new dungeon obviously will be a whole thing, but like
a lot of them are like sliders.
Yeah, a lot of them are just like, well, we just toggle that on now. So it's just kind of interesting the strategy behind trying to make a little extra money off of Zelda.
Well, yeah, so it took Nintendo a while to get on the Season Pass train, but now they're going all in, because we also found out today that Fire Emblem Echoes, a $40 3DS game, has a $45 Season Pass.
That's amazing.
Fire Emblem Echoes is an $85 handheld game.
Well, and I'm playing Fire Emblem for free.
Or
Heroes.
Heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been playing for like over a month now, or however long it's been out. I've been playing it like every day. I check in every day, and there's all this DLC. It's all free, and I've never paid anything for it. And like, that's kind of crazy that they would go the exact opposite route on the 3DS.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. That sounds egregious.
No, it's curious. I mean, they also did they tried a different tactic with the last Fire Emblem game on 3DS. I believe it was last, with the two versions and then the third version that combined the two of them. Fates,
Birthright.
yes, Birthright and Conquest were the different paths, but that was largely different single player campaigns.
That's a good point. Those were 3 separate retail packages.
Yeah.
Or you could buy them all in one, and it looks like a VHS tape. It's really cool. You know what's funny about that? If that game ends up being as good as Breath of the Wild, then I'm gonna be fine with it.
Yeah, I mean,
It just has to meet that standard. So Fire Emblem has to be as good as Breath of the Wild.
okay, well,
No big deal.
No, that's fine.
It just has to meet that
it
standard.
just has to be one of the best games of all
It's
time.
totally worth $85.
Game of the Year debates are going to be crazy.
In Fire Emblem's case, there's a bunch of smaller downloads that are coming. You can buy them piecemeal. They're like $5 to $7 a piece. But if you buy the $45 season pass, you save like 30%. So it's like, I don't know.
be a
It's
sucker.
really like $60, $65 worth of downloadable add-ons for that game.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like Fire Emblem. I think that game looks cool. We're going to talk about.
You don't $85 like it.
I mean, I don't know, and I also don't know. It's like tough to pick up my 3DS these days. Ever since I got my Switch.
Yeah.
We'll
It's a lot,
talk
to,
about.
lot to haul of work.
Actually, we'll talk about that a little bit more later on the show. Continuing the Nintendo news this week, that Mario and Rabbids RPG crossover is seeming more and more likely. Sources apparently leaked some art assets to Kotaku, which reveal the game to be called Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Plus,
Well, that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
That's how I don't know how
Assume it's an
actually-
A.
you like Kingdom Hearts. Explain this title to
Yes,
us.
this ties into the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Any game title with Kingdom or Hearts, I'm an expert on. That's pretty much how it works.
Now I'm trying to think of other games. What is about the card game Hearts? You an expert on that one?
Oh, my favorite. Yeah.
That's your favorite.
First game I ever played.
Turn-based combat, 2-player local co-op. Mario uses guns that shoot laser beams. There are
They can't shoot bullet bills.
Mario.
Those are his enemy.
You can look forward to playing as Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Peach, and 4 Rabbids dressed as Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and Peach.
Alternate costumes.
Yeah, they should have
What
just
type of game is it?
like an RPG, like Mario RPG.
So instead of a Mario RPG, instead of a Paper Mario RPG, instead of a Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga RPG, we're getting a Rabbids Mario RPG.
Yes.
Sure,
I want to
whatever.
know
All right.
how Ubisoft convinced Nintendo to go along with this.
Maybe is Nintendo this desperate for third-party support?
Maybe.
I don't. Go ahead.
I think you might have the right angle. You go first.
Well, so my thing is the Rabbids are incredibly still popular overseas.
Yes.
There's a big audience for them internationally. Not as big as Minions, but they are.
well, Minions are.
They should have done Mario Minions.
There are Rabbids.
Yeah, Minions are French Rabbids, which Ubisoft.
That sounds right.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
You're telling me the Rabbids are still popular?
Still popular. Obviously, they've had fewer franchise games, like specifically Rabbids, released, especially in America. But internationally, I believe they're still using. There were, I think, a Ubisoft. I forget if it's Universal or something. They made some rides in a theme park overseas.
What?
That used Rabbids. Yeah.
There's a Rabbids theme park?
There are Rabbids theme park rides within an overseas.
There's an animated show too.
Yeah.
That's at least
Still?
Yeah.
I remember there was.
That was made and distributed. There's still enough
This
of
game
a
is only coming
popularity
out
there.
in France. We have no idea.
That's true. Yeah, we should point. This has not been officially announced by Nintendo.
Yeah.
This is coming from leaks, but E3's right around the corner. And
My point to yours is there was a time in which Nintendo was talking about before the Switch came out, licensing their characters more.
Yeah.
That was like a big push they were going to do. So this could be something where they just gave their characters to Ubisoft.
They used to. I mean, I had Brian Fargo, who's a veteran PC game developer, started In Exile, which made a ton of great stuff over the years. And he worked on 2 games. Mario Teaches Typing.
Yeah.
Games that he
I
made
have that at my
way
desk.
back in the
He
day.
was in the office. I should have signed it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's like
I'm back.
Nintendo has licensed Mario and company out before. They just don't seem to do it too much these days.
They're back in that game. For
They're
sure.
definitely trying to loosen their restrictions with the Nintendo theme park itself that's coming. They've wanted to branch out and give their rights to other people, I think. So this is probably an indication, if this is true, that's...
From everything you're saying, the Rabbids audience is hungry for a deep RPG.
It might be rabid for more Rabbids.
Off the show.
All right, see you later.
Ubisoft is apparently developing this game themselves, using their own engine, and it's apparently pretty much done. If it's rumors are to be believed, it's coming in August or September.
I'll bet Nintendo's getting a healthier than normal cut of the profits of this game in order to happen.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
I'm surprised to hear that the Rabbids are still popular anywhere.
Definitely less so than Mario, but
That's a scoop. Yeah.
I'm sure they want to also revive that franchise. See if they can...
Remember when we only had Wii Sports, and we all had Wiis,
Yeah.
and we had to, go home for Christmas, and there's not much else to play. And then the Rabbids was
Rayman
out.
Raving Rabbids.
Everybody
Rayman.
played Rayman Raving Rabbids.
It was Raymond. It was a Wii launch.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Everybody loves Rayman. That's good.
It was a Wii launch title, right?
Everybody in France loves Rayman.
And I even forget it was a spin-off from the Rayman games.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see if Nintendo wants to reveal this officially at E3. I love Mario RPG, the original Super Nintendo game.
Yes.
And we've never gotten a sequel to that game.
Yeah, people say that the Paper Mario series is that continuation.
It's different.
I know it's different. Yeah, and then also maybe the Mario and Luigi Superstars. I guess.
Spiritual
the same,
successors, but not
quite
the same.
It doesn't have that weird clay feel, but that game is all Square Enix, so it's
I know. That's what
Yeah.
they should. Instead of
I would be
partnering with
down with
Ubisoft, Nintendo should partner with Square
What was
to
the
make
soldier
another.
character that was super weird? Gino?
I don't remember the name.
Oh, the sort of puppet
Yeah.
looking guy? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was Gina.
Very weird. Very weird characters in that game.
Moving on. Darksiders 3 announced this week
By us.
Yes.
by us.
Good work.
Eventually. Thanks, Amazon.
After a leak from Amazon, officially announced by us. And I think we have a big preview. Actually, probably by the time you listen to or watch the show, you can see read a big preview on
Amazon
IGN.
preview will be up.
Coming next year for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Features a new protagonist, Fury, female protagonist this time. And so Gunfire Games is the developer, and it's made up of a bunch of ex-Vigil, some of the key people from Vigil,
Correct.
which developed Darksiders 1 and 2. And I don't know, I'm interested to see how this shakes out. It's been 5 years since Darksiders 2. I liked the first Darksiders a lot. I never finished Darksiders 2. It didn't click.
Two had more of an open world sort of RPG focus on your gear and everything, more so than the first game did. Whereas one was a little more directed. I loved both games. I'm super excited for this one. I love that they're dipping into the 7 deadly sins as a sort of a plot mechanic. Curious to see how that works out.
Isn't like the
It worked great for Dante's Inferno.
Book, yes.
No.
but this story has been big for us this week. I think people are excited. It's a Darksiders is a Zelda-like.
Yeah.
And people that own a Switch have been able to enjoy this great new Zelda game recently. But everyone else who doesn't own a Switch, well, now maybe they'll get to enjoy their own new Zelda-like
No
game.
Switch version announced.
No
for
Switch
Darksiders
version.
3.
It just has to be as good as Breath of the Wild.
Yep, that's all it has
Every
to do.
game.
Bar it has to meet. And then I'll like it. I drove the guides for both those games.
For Darksiders 1 and 2?
Yeah, and 2. And so I'm not a fan of that series.
Really?
Okay.
You are? So you like...
I actually respect those games, and I do think they're cooler than I thought they would be, but I played them way too much.
well, okay.
So at least it'll be a new one that I'm not going to write a guide for, hopefully.
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, things shake out.
It will be interesting to see how the game stands up in a post-Breath of the Wild world.
Yes.
We talked about, Breath of the Wild is gonna.
Well, that character can conceivably climb everything.
That's true. Well, yeah.
just have to
there was a lot of
put that in the
climbing.
game.
There was a lot of climbing already in Darksiders. So
Heck, you get a portal gun in Darksiders. You can only shoot certain platforms with it.
that's actually true. Yeah.
You still get a portal gun.
Man, I should revisit the first. I know they did the definitive edition. Definitive edition of Darksiders. What 2? But did they do the first one too?
They did War Mastered.
The War Mastered
edition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up.
They're actually legally not allowed to use the regular names for remastered editions. They have to make up puns.
Is that?
Yeah.
Wait, is that
part
true?
of their country? No.
I was like,
So the first game, is the protagonist the same in the first and second? I can't remember at this point.
No, it was
More Than Death,
More
right?
Than
Okay,
Death.
So they are going through the 4 horsemen.
Though they've changed the 4 horsemen from, as they're known in biblical terms, they're like the second 2 are Fury and Strife.
Okay.
So Fury is the protagonist of Darksiders 3.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
what I remember liking about the first Darksiders is that it kept it was a huge game, and it just sort of kept revealing more and more layers to it. Mm-hmm. It was one of those situations where who thought was the ultimate boss wasn't the ultimate boss. There was really this guy pulling the strings behind it.
And there's physically big bosses, which are kind of
Yes.
funny. Yeah. It's just a giant skeleton boss in the middle of the city. It's pretty cool.
That was a cool game. Check out the preview for Darksiders 3 on IGN, probably right now ish. Here's your 6-week warning, ladies and gentlemen, that E3 is about 6 weeks away. Let me ask you guys this. I want your opinion on this. Is this a sign of the times that Oculus is not going to have a booth at E3 this year?
Wow, I hadn't thought about that.
Lots of people aren't having a booth at E3 this year.
Yeah?
Because they're backing out of the ESA thing and doing their own thing. We don't know if Oculus is doing their own thing, do we?
Well, they've announced that they're not going to have a booth at E3.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they won't be there, though, right? Out at some
that's
other.
They might be attending. I'm sure Oculus Rift games will show up at other booths.
Like how EA has EA Play.
Yeah.
They don't have a booth at E3 either.
Yes.
They have EA Play.
You think Oculus is going to do the tent in the parking lot thing?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
They could.
Don't
Oculus
assume.
has not announced its own thing like that.
Yeah.
But in recent years, Oculus has actually had a really big booth.
Did last year
on the show floor. But what I'm wondering is, last year VR was supposed to be a really big thing, and VR came, and it didn't really make the big splash that a lot of people thought it was going to. So I was just wondering if Oculus choosing not to attend E3 this year.
Or
is
will
sort of a sign
PlayStation VR be represented?
Yeah.
You remember when Vita kind of got silenced at some of the subsequent conferences?
Yeah.
That can happen again. It happened to Virtual Boy. There's a precedent.
My guess is, as you noted, Damon, last year was the launch. It's just over a year ago of Oculus. The touch controllers came out in December, I think it was. And they just sort of cut the price to effectively make it a bundle. I guess you can still buy everything separately, but touch is sort of now officially part of the Oculus ecosystem. My guess is they're skipping E3 this year because they probably just have a pile of games in development that are just early and not ready to show. And I would be willing to bet an In-N-Out burger that they're back with a strong showing next year at E3 when they've got a pile of software that's further along.
There was actually a lot of talk at DICE earlier this year about VR and how it didn't really necessarily have the commercial impact everyone wanted it to, or may have inflated it.
$800 devices
Shockingly.
didn't take off like they thought.
That's a good way to put it.
I'm
though,
shocked.
is the commercial impact. Whereas, I think it impacted game development.
Yeah,
and
they were saying a lot of people, they are still committed to it as a long-term process. They didn't see VR. Most of the people developing, they said they didn't see it as this is a 2-year goal to get to this point where it's commercially viable in this big thing. So we may see it again a year or two down the line. As Ryan's saying, it may just not be the timing.
like Google Glass is just going to come back at some point.
Society rejected Google Glass.
Well, it'll come back.
They're those Snapchat glasses now.
Yeah.
That's their thing, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
I don't know. No, I just as someone who's followed the video game industry his whole life, and someone who was waiting for virtual reality to become a commercial reality all his life, I'm still kind of following the VR scene and still waiting for the killer app.
Yeah.
And waiting for real, mass adoption of the device. I don't know. Well, I guess that's not true. Brian Altano owns PSVR. I think he might be the only person I know actually owns their own VR device. It's just it was making such a lot of news last year, and then no one bought it. Mm-hmm. Like you said yourself, you're a big Psychonauts fan, and you just haven't played the latest Psychonauts game because it's a VR game.
Easy access to VR stuff at work. I have an Oculus at my desk. It's at my desk. I played that Cliff Bleszinski's robot game.
Oh, Robo Recall.
That's not Cliff's game.
No,
Yeah,
sorry.
but,
Epic.
It's Epic.
Epic's, yeah.
Sorry. Yes. I played that game and it was really fun. But yeah, I haven't played the Psychonauts game. Super cool. Have you guys played that?
The Psychonauts one?
No, the robot game.
Robo Recall, it's
Robo
great.
Recall,
I
yeah.
love it. Yeah.
You
should play,
You can like shoot and bullets and block bullets with your hands, which is really fun.
You can throw your gun in the air and catch it.
Yeah.
Like that feels awesome.
But you can also just grab the robots and just shake them to death,
Yeah.
or just like it's really easy to kill them, and they're just all over you all the time.
I think Wilson's Heart just came out for Oculus, which I've previewed a couple times. It's do you guys remember Twisted Pixel? Great developer, made a lot of great live arcade games.
Yeah.
Explosion Man.
Explosion Man, The Maw,
Ms.
Comic
Explosion Man.
Jumper, Ms. Explosion Man. And then they sort of ended. Microsoft bought them. They've released Loco Cycle. They're one and only bad games so far. And then Microsoft's they mutually parted ways. They're independent again. They've been working on this Wilson's Heart game, which, as I said, I previewed a couple times, including recently, and I believe it just came out like last week.
Oculus game?
It's an Oculus Touch game, and it is basically you're in an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's black and white. You're in a mental institution, and there's all these sort of environmental puzzles.
Nice.
It was pretty fun in the couple times I played it. So if you've got an Oculus at your desk, give it a look.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if we reviewed it or not. I have to check.
I do like the super hot VR experience.
Oh my gosh,
playing that
hot,
last
super funny too. But these are all games I don't want to play for more than 2 hours for sure. So that's one issue. Like I can play Zelda for like 8 hours straight. Just feel super guilty.
Do you think you'll ever get a VR Zelda game made by Nintendo?
Not made by Nintendo? Might be some dirty spin-offs. They're really controlling those stores. That's another thing about
Zelda.
VR that's a little bit weird right now. Is that when we first had the Oculus in the office, people made whatever they wanted for that thing, and we had this. We would have like this, the Star Trek bridge. You just walk around that. No, just like somebody made this.
Oh, just a recreation.
Or you just like get on a roller coaster, or like, there's all these cool, just crazy, wacky workshop demos.
Yeah.
Like that is totally not what I'm seeing out of the system now.
Yeah, well,
It's
so
like an orderly shop with a set amount of games.
I see. Because like when dev units went out quite a long ways before it was commercially available, so people were just making this crazy.
That was like the creative explosion.
Yeah.
And it's like I think contracted a little bit since then.
All right, let's check in with listeners. Someone.
Hello, listeners.
Thank you.
Tony, hi.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Brian E. in Jaffrey, New Hampshire did. And he says, Scoop, to you, Damon, Sam, and mystery guests. I've owned an iteration of the 3DS since its launch, with my current model being the new 3DS XL Monster Hunter Edition. I'll admit when I saw the new 2DS XL, I really liked the look and I understand their reasoning behind it. And like most things Nintendo does, I wanted it immediately, even though I don't actually need it. But it got me thinking. Every year I've attended PAX East, and I always look forward to spending time in the handheld lounge, street passing with the thousands of other 3DS owners. This year was the first year where, in the 5 days I spent in Boston, I never once touched my 3DS. Why? Because I have my Switch. I commend Nintendo on doubling down on the DS being relevant for at least another year, but even with the new Fire Emblem and Pikmin already pre-ordered, I'm concerned that in the end I'll be repeating to myself the same thing I keep asking while playing Persona 5 and other non-Nintendo titles. I wish I was playing this on my Switch. So my question is, have any of you who own a 3DS used it since the Switch's release, and do you feel the same sense of concern juggling between the two going forward? Yeah, that's what we were just talking about earlier.
I have not touched my 3DS once since the Switch came out.
Or have I?
Now, Nintendo, Jose Otero actually spoke to Reggie Fils-Aimé recently, and he said that they're going to keep supporting the 3DS through 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
So games will still be coming for at least the next year or so. But beyond that, yeah, I don't know, and I don't really have a ton of intention of using my 3DS anytime soon.
And the reason I wouldn't worry about it only because, hey, even if this is it for 3DS, he's clearly gotten his money's worth.
Sure.
Like he's clearly enjoyed the heck out of it. Now he's playing Switch, and it's just like, all right, if that's it for 3DS.
You'll have your retro
Yeah,
library on your
Yeah.
3DS. Maybe you even want the 2DS for that because it'll be the best way to play.
I don't
play those
think
old
you
games.
should buy it. Don't
cheap.
don't spend more money on. He says he doesn't need it.
The new 3DS XL is plenty good. I think the new 2DS XL is more of a market for, like, they've realized they're not using the 3D really anymore at all in that system. So why not package it for a lower price and get everyone who has held off buying it more of an incentive?
Pokemon will continue to be on 3DS. So if you enjoy Pokemon,
still, I would say if Nintendo wants to sell more Switches, put an exclusive Pokemon game on the Switch.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll find out if Stars is a real thing.
I mean, Black and White 2 came out on DS, way into the 3DS life cycle. It's just that's what those are going to be on. They're going to be on the system they sold the most of, and that's what 3DS is right now.
The concern to me, and concern is in quotes because we're talking about video games, is that like Fire Emblem is a 3DS exclusive, not coming to the Switch as we know, and so it's like I would rather just continue playing on my Switch, but I gotta like dig out my 3DS, and I don't know.
It's a little bit
put it on the
weird,
Switch.
but like there probably are going to be games that are still better on 3DS because it has unique capabilities. It can clamshell really nicely, doesn't get hurt in your purse. I know you have that problem.
Purse, I always keep rocks in my purse.
Like seriously,
so it
the
just
Switch
bangs
is
up my
not,
house.
it's not the easiest thing to move around, But there's also things like the 2 screens, which I think are pretty cool, and I've always liked that feature about them. One's a touch screen, and you can do different things with it. So
Yeah, I mean, I'd love a Pikmin on Switch immediately, but I want to see how they've adapted it to that 2-screen functionality. See if it's different. See if it's worth it.
now you could probably play it on your Switch vertically. Port it over.
Maybe. Well, they don't.
Like that'd be a little
Have you
weird.
tried
to
that
hold.
yet?
They don't really have a solution for playing games for controlling them vertically.
Neither did the Lynx, but they didn't stop them. They didn't stop them.
Yeah, it's true. No, I know they're like 75 million.
Market stopped them.
Yeah, totally.
75
Right away, in their
million
tracks.
3DSs out there, and it's cool that Nintendo's continuing to support that platform. But like, just like a month after Fire Emblem is out, just make it downloadable on the Switch.
I'd take that. Yeah.
Just throw it on there.
Well, and who's to say they will never maybe
Sure.
remaster it also
I mean,
for
sure.
Switch at some point? Yeah.
It's a possibility. This is Kevin from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Cool.
He says a few weeks back, you were all talking about potential names for the Xbox Scorpio. While there were lots of great ideas, yeah, we had some great ideas.
Scorpion.
I think the best one is actually the Xbox One Elite. But the problem with this is that you'll remember a few years back, Microsoft already released a console named the Xbox One Elite. It was a first-generation Xbox One with a 1 terabyte drive and came packaged with an Elite controller for $500. So my question is, would Microsoft just be able to ignore that they already released a console with that particular name and then release a whole new console with the Elite name?
They could, but they won't.
I hope they do, he says. Yeah, I mean, that would be... They want to make a big splash with Project Scorpio, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot riding on this thing. So no, but they're not gonna use a name they've literally already used.
Yeah.
It'll be something else. I have said probably on this show before and other shows, I'm on the it's going to be just Xbox.
Yeah.
And they're just going to
That is a name they've already used.
well, but not.
But it's been a while. Yeah.
This. Do you think it might also fall in the form of Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One other letter?
Nah.
No, you don't think they do
It'll
that?
probably be something else if it's not just Xbox.
What
But
letter are you thinking?
2 S's.
Spec ones.
Well, so if
Scorpion,
it's just,
not a snake.
if it's just the Xbox, what happens to Xbox One? Does that just get phased out? Do they sell their
that'll be
name?
that would be like it'll be the bottom end version. It's like, well, you got your Xbox or the Xbox One. Gonna work. They're gonna tag some other word on it. I mean, I would like to see it just be called Xbox, and then they
Wasn't
can.
there a 360 like without a disk drive or something like that?
No, that never happened.
That never happened. Okay, well, there was the one that came with no hard drive, and it had very little things you could do with it. That was
Well,
really
that was the
early on.
original, the arcade.
Oh,
Xbox
yeah.
Yes,
360
the Xbox-
arcade.
That's what I'm thinking of, the arcade. Yeah, so that's like their lower end model, right?
Sam, what do you want it to be called? Project Scorpio.
As long as it plays my HD DVDs, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I have bad news for you, Sam.
And that brings us to Video Game 20 Questions. And our suggestion this week comes from Wasim in Victoria on Vancouver Island.
Cool.
And he was very kind enough. He visited Japan. He visited Japan recently, and brought me back a souvenir. It's a little book that went along with the release of Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. I believe it's All Monsters Attack, All Out Monster Attack. He found this while shopping in.
Oh, look at Mothra.
Yeah.
Does Mothra still exist in that universe?
Yes.
So there's
Well, I
new
mean, this
Mothras?
universe is kind of gone now. They sort of retconned it with Shin Godzilla. We're waiting to see what they do with the other monsters in that universe too. But he also
Is that Mothra just sitting on top of Godzilla's head?
yeah, he's probably
hanging
like
out.
charging up Godzilla's power or something.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah. Well, they usually end up helping each other out to fight King Ghidorah.
Gotcha.
Wasim says, I thought I would sneak in a little letter here while I'm at it. I have been a daily viewer of most of IGN content for over a decade. I am probably what you would consider being the silent majority of your viewers. I have never commented on the video, but I've always enjoyed the content yourself and the rest of the team provides me daily. Once again, sincerely, thank you. Please thank the other scoopers, including the shark for me if possible, with a handshake or a high five. I don't know who the shark is.
Finnegan.
Is he?
Yeah.
Sean the Shark Finnegan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sean.
That's like a joke from 10
Eamon
years ago
doesn't
in
know
Games
any of
Scoop.
his coworkers. That's what the secret. He has no idea who any of us are.
Sure, you didn't have a shark on with Ryan Geddes and
Well, we talked
Greg
about
Miller?
there was a long running debate on who would win in a fight, a shark or an octopus. I don't know if that's really what he's talking about.
Okay, who won?
Obviously, the shark. Some people have tried to fabricate video of an octopus killing a shark. That's fake news. Wasim says, whilst walking the streets of Ikebukuro and finding these vintage Godzilla posters and books, I recall that you may appreciate them and grabbed one that looked weird enough. If anyone else goes there, it's outside the Tokyo Metropolitan Theater in a flea market. And while I'm at it, I always wanted to submit my game for video game 20 questions.
Do you think it's going to be a Godzilla?
Godzilla. Yeah.
Godzilla 2 for NES?
Godzilla versus the monsters.
Let the questioning begin.
Godzilla destroy all monsters.
Remember, if you guessed wrong, you
Wanna-
lose.
wanna start this one off?
Well, are we still sticking with the first question as always?
What is the first question in your mind?
Was this game released before?
No, we never asked that
No?
first. No.
It's usually
It's okay,
something
though.
kinda
I'd
bizarre.
I
rather
thought it
have
was
hear
used
what
to.
you asked
Okay.
first.
I thought it used to be first.
Should be first, maybe.
Was this game released before January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's find out if it is before 1990.
Was it released before January 1st, 1990?
Yes.
Yes.
But I didn't ask that in the form of a question, so it doesn't count. Cool. Before 1990.
All right.
That's our zone.
Is this game
Jonathan, you can
was
leave.
See you later.
was this game
wasn't
released
born yet.
on the Nintendo Entertainment System?
No.
Okay. Well, that's
Was this game released in the arcade?
Yes.
Okay.
But it could have been on other stuff too, because everything's ported. You know?
I know that's the problem. Like,
That's
so many
good.
cool, like, Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, came to NES, and Narc came to NES.
You eliminated all those. You did a good job.
I know. It's
Is this before 1983?
No.
All right. See, it gets a little bit tricky then.
Okay.
so we're in the arcade Sega
Between 93
could be
and
Master
1990.
System.
Well, we definitely have that it's arcade,
Yeah, it
correct?
could be on PCs and stuff, but arcade is helpful.
arcade.
True. Yeah. It's,
Do you play as a human in this game?
Yes.
Ooh. Human play.
Sounds sexy. I'm into human play mostly.
I'm weird like that.
Does this game have sequels?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like Double Dragon to me. That was on NES, sorry.
so arcade.
You did a good job with the NES question.
yeah,
I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Does this game have multiplayer of some kind?
Yes.
Okay, so it's
Ah,
a
okay.
two-player
Brawler.
cabinet.
I was going to say for genre next. Is this game a brawler?
Ooh.
Not strictly. No.
Okay.
Not really.
Not strictly.
Not really.
That's a good hint.
Actually, yeah. It's just not a brawler.
Not
How
a
about that?
brawler.
Okay.
Was this developed in Japan?
Yes. That's 10.
I'm now going to like a couple of my favorite games, but I don't know if they were 80s or if the calendar had flipped to the 90s. You remember they finally got re-released on 360 Live Arcade at the end of the 360's life cycle, but D&D Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mystara. They never.
Those are brawlers for sure, right?
Well, I don't know. They're kind of RPGs of the time.
Oh, okay.
They're probably not the answer to this question because I think they're probably after 1990. But
Yeah, multiplayer in the late era arcades without that is a little bit strange. We had Rampart on here before, and that was a really hard one. By the way.
It could be. Trying to think of.
I'm thinking Sega.
Well, I was just thinking Daytona, USA.
Yeah, I think that's after the 80s. Though.
Yeah, you're right.
Daytona.
Does your character have a gun in this game?
No.
No. Okay.
What would that eliminate?
I was just trying to think of if it's a shooting game or not, sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Like Terminator. Although Terminator 2
he couldn't answer whether it was a brawler. Then he decided it was a brawler. So it's not a driving game.
Decided it's not a brawler.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm just saying, like, is this based on a license?
No.
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, we're a little bit stuck here.
Already did.
We did.
We did ask about
Definitely has sequels.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
So, and it could be a game that's in the arcade that we don't associate with the arcade. That it had an arcade version, but then we were just like, oh yeah, you know. And it's Japan, so it's not something like Gauntlet.
What was big in arcades besides brawlers and racing games?
Oh, totally. I know.
That's the thing. It's just like
It's super weird.
Because that's
where you play as a human.
There's top-down combat games, which are not. I wouldn't
like
call brawlers.
that NBA Jam was later, and that whole the arcade sports genre was later.
Yeah, this could be a sports game still, though. You know, and like, oof. Yeah, it's tough.
Space shooters like Radius and stuff.
Yep, but multiplayer
And sequels.
Wow, you really got us in a bind here. How about should we narrow it down by company, or is that too egregious?
I mean,
or theme. We can always go sci-fi or fantasy and stuff like that. Because I'd really like to know if it's a Sega game.
I mean,
yeah, we still have a few questions to use.
And then there's also the question line of no, we did the sequels. Yeah, is this a Sega game?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Sega. All right.
Makers
So
of Sonic.
yes, Sonic. So we have if multiplayer makes us weird, but
Sega
we have
arcade
Alien
game.
Syndrome. We have possibly Fantasy Zone. I can't remember if that's multiplayer. I don't think it is. We have the one where you're going into the foreground that was like super advanced at its time. Forget the name of that game. It looks like 3D World. It's a really famous game. Alien Syndrome is pretty good though.
did that have sequels?
Nope. So that's not very good.
Have we asked about vehicles at all, or
No.
Okay.
And then, well, what games on Sega from that time do you think?
I'm drawing a blank on
What
specific
about
names. I'm
Altered
just trying to
Beast?
Did that have a sequel? That's a good
think so.
thought.
Is that just a
I don't-
brawler?
Yeah.
that be-
and is that? I don't think that's a 2-player game.
No, you can play 2 players.
Can?
I was just playing it in a bar a week or two
Weird.
ago.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So maybe it is.
yeah.
Could
But
be.
it has sequels.
Yes.
But
yeah.
isn't that just a brawler?
I feel like that. Yeah, that would constitute.
Fantasy Star was single player and it was never in an arcade, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be
Not that I'm aware of.
Jeez. Can you turn into animals in this?
No.
Okay. Wow.
You are a human.
You are human.
I mean, all
don't
I
have
think
a
of is
gun.
Golden Axe, and like it's freaking a brawler, you know?
Yeah.
Sega. Are we gonna get this one?
I hope so.
All right.
Maybe I should specify that I think of a brawler as like a fisticuffs, Double Dragon, Final Fight kind of game.
And it's not that.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
Right.
So weapons could be involved.
Yeah.
Is-
Can you ride creatures in this game?
Yes.
So it is Golden Axe.
Okay.
Well, let's draw this out a little bit. Can you kick gnomes in this game?
Yes.
Oh, that's just so mean. What a mean game. Is Julius Thunderclad in this game?
Yes.
All right.
It's definitely probably Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. It's probably.
That's really cool. Is this Golden Axe?
Yeah.
It's not Golden Axe 2 Revenge of Death Adder?
I'm surprised you didn't go with the popular line of questioning. At the end of the game, can you jump out of did the characters jump out of the arcade game
yourself.
and chase the player outside of the arcade?
Yeah. Do you get to see yourself beat the game?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like 3 dorks.
I only ever played it on
Golden
a
Axe. Playing at the
Sega
end.
system. I don't remember doing that.
I don't know if it's the same ending or not, but at least in
Oh
the
wow.
arcades.
Okay.
Yeah, Golden Axe released in 1989 in the arcades. And I think it came to Sega Genesis in that same year. But would you think of Golden Axe as a brawler or a hack and slash? I think hack and slash.
That's a really good point, Damon.
Fair.
I don't know what to call it. I owned a Golden Axe cabinet for many years.
An actual cabinet.
Yeah, and then I actually sold it to a fan of IGN. Well, there's no actual cabinets. That one's a conversion. So you'd get a kit and you'd change another cabinet into it. So
What about
every
the art
version
on the
of
cabinet, though?
that's an interesting story.
Okay.
So the side art of the cabinet is an axe and a sword. And the words Golden Axe in like a triangle. And they came in giant sticker paper.
Oh, cool.
So what you would do is you take a cabinet, Xevious, for instance, you'd paint the whole thing black, and this kills me to this day. And then you put the Golden Axe logo on the side.
just cover up whatever was
Swap
there
out the control panel, which is like you would like saw it, or you had to get a sticker and put it on. And you just converted this other game to Golden Axe. You even had the bezel, the paper bezel. Yeah. So my copy of Golden Axe was in, and it pains me to say this, an Asteroids Deluxe cabinet, which is really crazy. And you can just stop me anytime.
I like it.
Because Asteroids Deluxe reverses its screen. When you look into Asteroids Deluxe, you're looking at a mirror, and the screen is playing the game completely mirrored backwards below it. So it's projecting up onto a screen, a mirror at the back of the game, and then you're looking at that mirror. So the whole game's backwards. So what they had to do was take all that out, just gut it, and just mount a screen normally in it, and make it Asteroids Deluxe Golden Axe.
Golden Axe Deluxe.
Golden Axe Deluxe.
So there are 3 playable characters in Golden Axe. Does the arcade support 3 players? Or just 2?
2.
Yeah, it's just 3 playable characters, but only 2 people can play, right?
Yep. You got the Valkyrie, the Barbarian,
Yeah.
and of course, Julius Thunderclad, the Dwarf.
Well, I'm glad you got there. I needed to
Yeah, it was great.
help you out there. And thank you for the suggestion and the cool Godzilla book, Wasim. And that brings us to the end of all the scoops we have this week. Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Ryan.
Them's the scoops.
My name is Damon. This is IGN Game Scoop. We're out.